guest today is Dr. Gary Lambert. He's also a friend of mine. Pardon me?
I cut it for just a second. Sorry.
Oh, you cut it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So we're back on?
Yeah.
Yeah! My guest today, of course, is Dr. Gary Lambert from Backworks USA. Dr. Lambert is many things. Brought you on today for a lot of reasons. So now can I call you Gary for a second?
Of course, always.
Okay, because I don't want to
Can I call you Frankie?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't go to 10 years of evil Frankie school to become anything else. But yeah, I think you do so many things, and I've known you now. So I met you when I came back to Quincy back in '08. So I'm not trying to put the years on it, but for me personally, it may not be 17 years for you that you've known me, but I have known of you and spoken to you so many times out in public where I'm always, I think we've got this this friendship where...
Yeah, an understanding.
Well, if I see you, I'm probably going to run over, shake your hand, because I'm not going to just walk past you and not shake your hand because you're just this kind of a man, a kind of a person that I just think a lot of you. But you do so many things, okay? So obviously you own you're a Doctor of Chiropractic. Mm-hmm. You are a very renowned poker player. You have played rugby. Did you say on the Olympic team?
Internationally, I played for the U.S. national team for 10 years. And then I played professionally for a while.
So there's lots of things that we can talk about, but we kind of were talking a little bit ago about when you go and you're a patient.
Yeah.
And
there's
this idea of healing somebody. So in your professional life, you get paid to heal. But so in my life, when I have a child that's crying, okay, do you have any kids?
I got 8.
8?
Yes.
Oh,
6 daughters, two sons.
You're way over the fertility rate.
Well, after the 4th, it's a little, it's like free range. Put them out, let them figure it out. But no, my wife does well.
So when you've got a child, a very small child, and he or she is running up to you crying, just full of tears, and they're coming running onto you, and they come deep into you, they grab you.
It's a good analogy.
And you have to figure out what's wrong.
Yeah.
At that moment, as a father, you have to be a healer. You also have to be a detective.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to figure out what is wrong. And so tell me about healing. Tell me about, in your practice, your personal life, what is your take on healing?
Well, let me build on what you're saying. If your child comes to you running, if you pick them up as a father or mother or a loved one, and you hold them close to you, they're in a comfort zone. They might stop crying right there. So you know that there's some type of transference of an understanding or a love or an energy, whatever you want to call it. But it's very important. In the healing arts, the hands-on healing arts, being a chiropractor, I also consider myself a hands-on healer. Now, I don't call myself a healer. All my patients heal themselves. I just facilitate that healing. But it's very, very important for me as a doctor of chiropractor, a holistic doctor, is to be grounded, to put my hands on my patients. Not that I don't use an instrument every now and then, but I firmly believe that we've lost touch with actually listening and touching our patients and doing hands-on exams during the consult, etc., and definitely hands-on treatment. Years ago, any of the medical doctors, they'd grab you and talk to you and touch you and do their exam. These days, medicine has gone a little bit different direction. We're mostly testing. A doctor might not even touch you, or the nurse might not even touch you, just to get the test and go on. So, in my world, being a hands-on chiropractor, and I'm going to say a principal chiropractor, I use my hands pretty much for everything. I go to work, this is all I need, which is pretty nice. But there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of transfer of energy that goes on between patients. My patients might not realize it. I don't say, hey, I'm going to, X, Y, and Z is going to happen. I just get my hands on my patients and do my thing, knowing that if my intentions are pure and I'm grounded, it could do nothing but help. It just makes sense.
It's really interesting. So, my father-in-law talks about laying hands, and he's a different kind of a healer in that he doesn't have a doctor of chiropractic. He doesn't necessarily know those arts, but he's the kind of person to where if there's something wrong, if like, so, I mean, I'm married to his daughter,
Yeah.
and there's been times where he has stopped in the middle of dinner and said, all right, so he senses something, there's something wrong. He's the kind of person that would say, well, hold on a second. Let's, let's kind of go around the table and let's put a hand
He's
on
intuitive.
Rachel. He's very intuitive.
A medical intuitive, you can use that terminology. But yeah.
So I've always believed in this to some kind of an extent. Do you think humans understand the power that they have at their disposal? So
That's a great question.
I'm not even trying to make this about like
No, I get it.
God
Yeah,
so
without
much. I'm
going
trying
crazy,
to
hokey and stuff like
no,
that.
I'm not trying to be hokey. I'm saying
yeah.
when you said that you're not healing your patients are healing themselves. You're the facilitator. So do you think that, we can have conversations, I'm not going to try to get into how old is the Earth, how old have humans been around.
Yeah, I get
it's
it.
somewhere between 6,000 years and maybe
A million, who knows?
a million,
Yeah, who knows?
billion. Well, we don't know, right?
yet.
Okay, so it's a debate. It's a debate, and like I don't know if science is necessarily 100% settled on these kinds of things, but do you think that humans have powers that if they're sending their intentions somewhere, do you think it has any of effect?
Yeah, 100. I don't think that's an argument with anybody in any of the healing arts. Do we know how to utilize them? No. Most people are going to vibrate at a different level, and at the higher level you go, you get to realize that a little bit more. Again, if you're intuitive, you can maybe read things differently, or I'm not going to say better or worse, just differently. I believe that we all have powers we don't know about. And when I say powers, like we were talking about hands-on healing. There's a God particle inside me. There's a God particle inside you. If I go with the right intentions and they can meet, and there's an understanding either through voice or through touch, with the facilitation of other modalities, whether it's an adjustment or whether it's a medical doctor doing a procedure or a physical therapist doing their procedure, it can do nothing but better the situation. You see a lot of doctors before going into surgery where they're getting their team together and doing a prayer and putting their hands on their patients. I mean, if you gave me an option, I'd say, yeah, I want that, rather than just put the cold steel on me and get going, So it just would make sense that we don't understand everything that's going around in us or outside us, kind of like a radio. When you turn your radio on, you get all these frequencies. But I mean, there's waves going somewhere. And how often have you just thought about someone you haven't seen in 10 or 15 years, and 3 minutes later the phone rings? It happens. And to me,
Wild.
I just say to myself, well, that's just you sending your radio wave out there, and they happen to be thinking about you at the same time, or something like that. Who knows? We don't know. But I think as time goes on, we're going to know. We're going to figure things out a little bit more.
I think the future is going to reveal. I think even science, and people laugh when I use the term like quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
The idea of superposition, where two electrons, which actually it's not two, it's the same electron, can be in completely opposite places at the same time, and depending on whether or not you are looking at something, you are observing it, whether or not when you are observing something, it's behaving one way. When you're not observing something, it behaves a different way. And I don't think that humans are really anywhere close to understanding their own power.
Yeah.
But then in a more humble way to phrase this and cast this is really the power of the universe, the power of their surroundings, the power of their interactions, their intentions, their thoughts. I still think we're locked into the ancient texts.
Yeah.
Because we don't understand how these things work. It's like there was this ancient text. I'm not going to go in and start quoting the Bible here, but
Yeah.
this is not about religion. This is not about religion right now. We're talking about the differences between arts and sciences, and when you talk about modality, so a Western doctor. I see my Western doctor once or twice a year. I see my Eastern medical doctors a couple times a month.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to live like in a preventative.
You want to heal
health.
from the inside. Healing comes from the inside, not from the outside.
That's
I
interesting.
mean, we might need some outside help if you need a medication every now and then, or you need a salve or something going on. But realistically, healing comes from above down and from the inside out, not from the outside. So when you're taking 15 medications, I'm not saying you don't need these, but a lot of folks say, I'm healthy because I'm on all these medications. And really the thinking is, boy, that's a dangerous situation to be in. It's unfortunate you're in that situation. Because healing, if God wanted all those medications in you, it would have started off with them in you. When you have a headache, you're not short of Motrin in your bloodstream. Trust me, that's not the issue. There's something else. So as time goes on, medicine, when I say medicine, I'm talking about the healing arts, from medicine to chiropractic to massage and everything, or if you're a nutritionist or whatever it is, more and more we're knowing that it comes, let's get to the cause and let's have the healing come from the inside out when possible, unless there's a limitation of matter, if there's a genetic issue or an injury and whatever. But healing comes from the inside out. It's just, I don't think there's any other way to realize it.
How long have you been practicing medicine?
I've been a chiropractor for just short of 40 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lifetime, and it's been
Just
been a
short
nice
of 40?
journey. 40, yeah, been a nice journey.
So I'm trying to, whenever I know right where you are, right there on Broadway.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing everybody knows where you are because it's very easy to see.
So I got the yellow trim. So when I go, who puts yellow trim on a building? Well, the guy that wants you to look at it. But yeah, we've been there for a while. Yeah.
Well, I kind of want to talk a little bit about your rugby experience.
Sure.
First of all, when did you start playing rugby? And later on, I want to tie in the fact that since you're a doctor, when people come in for injuries, the fact that I'm guessing you've had some injuries?
I've had a few injuries.
So when did you start playing rugby?
Well, Grandma Vincenzi, I'm sorry, my grandma, rest in peace. I must have been about maybe 18 or 19 years old, and deep into I played football, I played rugby, I played a lot of different sports. And she said, oh, Butchie, she pinched me on the cheek. Butchie, you little Italian lady, Butchie, if we pull all the stitches out of you, you'll fall apart like a scarecrow. So I've had my injuries. As you have athletes, it goes along with it. My rugby started, I was 13 years old, between 8th and 9th grade, in upstate New York, a little town called Mahopac, New York. And one of my very good friends' older brother, 11 years my senior, was on a rugby team, White Plains Rugby Club, White Plains, New York. And you can't get in a lot of trouble in Mahopac, New York, even today, but definitely not 50 years ago, 55 years ago, whatever it is. But an effort to keep us off the streets of Mahopac, he would take us to rugby practice. And we were both athletic. And I just gravitated, I really took to the rugby because, in my opinion, it tests all the skills of someone who wants to test themselves athletically. You can kick, you can pass, you can run, you can tackle. You get to play a little bit of a chess game from a helicopter view once you get to know the game a little bit more. And for me, that was nice because playing football, and I played a lot of football. I played college football, high school football, I played semi-pro football. But football, you're on for 2 or 3 minutes, you're off, you're on, you're off. Even if you play all special teams and everything, you're still off the field a lot. And you always get the antsy person, oh, he's got ADHD. No, he just wants to be out there. He got stuff he needs to do, and not stuff he knows what he wants or she wants to do. So rugby to me was a way to have an open canvas and paint it any way I wanted to. And I just felt a lot of freedom. It was almost like an art form for me. Tough at times. However, I gravitated and really took to it. It was just tested all of the skills that I honed after a while, I believe. And got very fortunate and honored to represent the country for almost 10 years.
Been on the national team?
I have been. Yeah, I captained the national team. I have been on the national team and got to best education in the world, got to travel the world 5 times over. It was a very, very cool experience. And again, I say a lifetime ago.
10 years?
10 years, from 1981. I retired in 1991, played in the first World Cup, was selected to the second World Cup and decided to retire and go the professional route about a month before we were to leave to the second World Cup. Another story we'll talk about another time, but yeah, it was a big part of my life and still is. My children, 4 of my daughters play rugby. They don't play often, but they're good athletes. My son played on the national collegiate team and the national under-20 rugby team. Went to a couple world championships. He's since retired and he's up in Alaska now.
Did any of them, he's in Alaska now?
He is.
Did any of your kids who played rugby, did any of them go to school in Quincy?
Yes. Yeah, my son Garrett graduated from Quincy High School. It's a great story. He played football, played both ways, and we got a couple minutes to tell the story.
Yeah.
So my son, at the time, it was his senior year. He was 17 years old, and he was playing rugby and football at the same time. But he was playing rugby with the top men in the country. So he was playing with the St. Louis Bombers at the time, were First Division Super League. They called it a Super League back then. But he was only 17. So he would play Friday night under the lights for Quincy High School. And then Saturday morning, he would be on a plane going to California, going to New York, going to Florida, or playing locally, Chicago, whatever. And he had to, every week, get written permission from the president of the United States Rugby Union, because he was under 18 years old, to play in the Super League, because everybody was, I don't even think there were any 18-year-olds or 20. Everyone was 22 to 35 years old.
Oh,
35 years old. And my son played a very key position. He was a great athlete. So
what was the position?
Same position I played. It's called number 8. So you play at the back of the scrum. I'm going to say it would be equivalent to the high school linebacker who also had permission to run the ball anytime he wanted. So,
neat.
So a lot to it. And another, to build on that, and I forget who the head coach was back in 2006 when my son graduated, Dickerson at QHS. Anyway, good coach. And he pulled me aside one time and he said, listen, your son has got to choose between football and rugby. He cannot do both. And I said, well, my son loves rugby. If he chooses, you're going to lose my son, if that's okay with you. He goes, well, what do you mean? I said, my son likes his football, enjoys his football. He loves the guys on the team, but he's very passionate about his football. And at that point, I also said, my son is also playing for the under-20 national team, and he's going to Ireland to the World Championships. And he'll miss the 2-a-days. And the coach, we're going to have to fitness test him. If he comes back, he can't pass the fitness test. I don't know if we can have him. I said, don't worry about that. So long story short, they do the fitness test, and we're running ladders. They were running ladders, the 5-yard line back to the goal line, 10-yard line, goal line, 15, all the way down the field. I think my son beat the closest guy by probably 150 yards. And this was after he missed all the 2-a-days and stuff. So the level of fitness is so higher in rugby or soccer, sports like that, because you're playing for 40 minutes. You got a 10-minute break. You play for another 40 minutes. The training's different. So that was my son played that and football at the same time, and enjoyed both careers.
How do you? So, whenever I look at soccer, so I consider myself a soccer player.
Yeah.
I would love to identify as a rugby player too. I don't have a good excuse why I didn't play rugby. I had a rugby opportunity. I think I told you in the green room that my sister Gina played rugby for Loyola. My sister Gina, who went to QND, graduated in 98 at QND. When she was 17, my parents shipped her to Chicago. Really, she shipped herself because she was pretty independent. Immediately, my sister was a softball, basketball, volleyball, soccer player.
She had to love rugby. Tested her.
So she was just an athlete.
Yeah.
She took to it very well. I don't think she played during all of college. I think at some point in time she went back to studies and just maybe stopped playing. Sure. It wasn't because she didn't like it. Maybe she liked it too much. It just got too drawn into it.
It's a hard sport once you're out of college, unless you go professional or you're playing with a club and you don't have a career that you can't go in with maybe a broken finger one day or a bruise or something.
I think like with rugby, I think everybody who's got broken fingers is playing.
Yeah.
I think you're playing with broken appendages when you're playing rugby.
It's demanding at times. Well, real quick on the women's rugby, the Women's World Cup just ended, a week and a half ago. England beat Canada,
Ooh.
I think they broke all types of records. I'm going to say there were 84,000 at the final game.
At the women's?
The Women's World Cup final.
Okay.
It was in England. Wow. I'm leading on to this. Now they have 4 Barbie dolls. One with a U.S. rugby player, Alona Mayer. You might have heard her. She has more followers than like the New Zealand All Blacks. She's a female rugby player. They have an English Barbie doll. There's I think a Welsh Barbie doll and a New Zealand Barbie doll, all made out of these characters that played in the World Cup that stood out. And so they just announced that actually like 2 days ago.
Wow.
So women's rugby now is on a massive takeoff because it's a sport that no matter what body type you are, no matter what, if you got to be an athlete, obviously, you're welcome and you're going to be judged on your merits. So you got a lot of women or ladies that maybe didn't have the physique to play this sport or that sport or that sport. However, they fit right into a position in rugby and then said, you know what, I'm such a good athlete, or these girls are on the national team, obviously good athletes, but they got to express themselves like your sister. She played all these sports. So here's a sport you don't have to worry about sitting on the bench ever, unless you're a non-starter. And it doesn't sound like that was the case with Sis. And she got to tackle or run or kick and play chess. You want to be tested as an athlete. Athletes are not just, hey, I'm an athlete. Well, athletes like to be tested. We talked about that earlier.
I think when people are talking about what is the toughest sport, so Quincyans, okay? So we don't have like the Park District doesn't offer rugby. It's not
used to be a rugby team in Quincy.
What? Okay, explain this to me.
Yeah, there used to be a rugby team. I'm going to say that I did meet a couple of guys who played, and I think the owner of Peters might have played on the rugby team. I forget his first name. Anyway, years ago, it was a patient of mine. We talked about it. Back in it disbanded in the mid-'80s. I'm going to say 1983 or 84. I wasn't sure if it was at QU or was just a Quincy Rugby Club, but there was a rugby team here.
Interesting. So I was just about to say, in Quincy, you can't play rugby.
There's not a lot. And for me to move here was tough because I went from coaching, being a U.S. player, U.S. team player, U.S. team physician, traveled with the teams, and all my kids were involved in rugby, and I moved to Quincy, Illinois. Great place to live, great place to raise a family. But from a guy who lived a rugby life, wasn't a lot here for that. So my son played out of St. Louis, or I had to go to St. Louis to coach. That gets old after a while.
Well, in the discussions of like what is the toughest sport, I think that if you have rugby front and center, frontal cortex, where it's an option, I think rugby stays in the conversation a lot longer. But I notice people will say something like, well, ice hockey. Yeah. Ice hockey, easily the toughest sport. And I mean, when I'm watching ice hockey, those guys are playing 2 or 3 minutes, they come off. Yeah. They go back to the bench.
Incredible athletes.
Incredible athletes.
Incredible athletes.
If you watch the NHL, it's insane what those guys are doing on the ice.
It's unbelievable. Backwards also. They do it backwards.
And they're going backwards and then stopping on a dime, and just like the sheer power in their legs. Yeah. You see baseball players that a lot of people who don't understand really how baseball works, you have to have incredibly strong legs. Yeah. And you see Major League Baseball players, their thighs are like this. They've got these huge...
Everything's sports specific.
I mean, it's such an amazing thing, but like, it amazes me when I watch rugby, which is it's not every single day I'm watching rugby, but when I catch it, so if I'm channel surfing and rugby comes across, my son Valentino will say, whoa, 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 football's on. Yeah. He goes, wait, that's football with no pads.
With no pads, yeah, I get it.
I go, actually, son, that is rugby. He goes, rugby? I go, yeah. He goes, oh, can we watch that? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, let's do it.
We're going to go full into rugby. And I'm like looking up what scrum is, and there's so much terminology with rugby. Yeah. But it's an alien sport to, oh goodness, how do I say it nicely?
No, listen, it's not a major sport in the U.S. People think in the U.S., because there's money attached to everything. Yeah. And you got a baseball player, you make $10 million a year is a small salary. Basketball player, $10 million a year is a small salary. Football player, $5 million a year is a small salary. Rugby, and mostly professional players in rugby, if you're making $250,000 with $1 million sign up is a pretty good salary for a rugby player. Now overseas, a little bit different. So a lot of I'm going to say, a lot of folks don't push people if they think they're going to go to a professional sport. That would be like the last one. Now for years, a lot of your first grade or your A athletes did not get pushed toward the rugby. These days are different. It's an Olympic sport. And once an Olympic sport, that means money gets influxed, sponsors come influxed, there's more exposure. And I don't know how many thousands of rugby teams there are in the United States, but there's lots. Most every university has a rugby team, and if they don't, they should. It's a sport that you can put a whole team out there for maybe $3,000 to $5,000 for the whole year, uniforms, opposed to $500,000 for a football team.
Yeah.
You know, or
like
something
golf
like
is an
that.
expensive sport, tennis is expensive.
It is.
American football, which by the way, since we're talking about rugby,
Yeah.
we can't just say football,
Yeah.
because that could mean soccer.
Soccer could mean whatever. Yeah.
It could mean
Depends where you
anything.
are.
So you have to say American football, right? But so does rugby help you with your poker?
Well, does it help me? Well, that's a wow. Isn't that a question? How would rugby? It might help me.
I guess
from I guess a serious look from an international rugby player is like standing across from the haka, and if you're playing against the All Blacks, and you get to notice what you're looking at. You might be a little afraid at times, but I'm not going to say it helps me, other than nothing phases me at the poker table.
How often do you play?
I don't play as much as I used to. In about 2010, I considered myself, the IRS considered me, a professional poker player. And for many years, I played probably 40 weeks a year, 40 weeks a year, a fair amount.
Wait, okay.
These days, I'll do the World Series of Poker. I'll do some of the bigger tournaments that are...
Wait, when you say that you will go do the World Series of Poker, what do you mean by that?
I'll go out for anywhere from 2 to 8 weeks to the World Series of Poker in Las Vegas. It is every year. It usually runs from May 3rd, so let's say June 1st through about mid-July. So it's about 6 to 7 weeks of tournaments from people from around the world. And like when I say thousands, and poker's very big, as we know. It's massive. And in other countries, it's just massive. So there might be 3 different tournaments starting every day just in the World Series itself. And in each one of those tournaments, there can be anywhere from 1,000 players to 30,000 players in one tournament. So literally 30,000 players in one tournament.
And are they all showing up to play?
Yeah, these are all people coming around. These are all
They're
people coming physically flying from around the world to the World Series of Poker. It's what you see on TV when you see the main event.
Yeah.
I think this year the main event, first place, I think it was like 10 or 12 million. It's usually around $12 million for first place. That's a $10,000 buy-in. That particular tournament, I'm going to guesstimate, I don't know the exact numbers. There were probably a little over 8,000 players that paid $10,000 apiece. So there's $80 million in the prize pool, thereabouts. Okay. After the house takes their vig out or whatever. First place, 12 million, and it pays on down. It pays approximately 12% of the field in most most poker tournaments are going to get paid. Anywhere from 15% to 10%, depends on the structure of the tournament, get paid into the tournament. So it's 8,000 players. About 900 are going to be in the money.
When you say that the IRS, you kind of, when you were talking about that, when you were trying to figure out
how to say that,
I saw your brain working to put the words together there. When you say, well, when the IRS started to consider me to be a professional poker player, like I got to pull on this for a second. So don't take any offense to this, but when I hear you say that, it makes me very scared to invite you to my lowly poker table that we have once a month.
Yeah.
Generally on a Thursday. You probably know half the guys that play in my table, but I'm going to have to invite. I mean, I guess if I invited you, I guess you would beat all of us.
No. That's poker's like that's
really?
Another thing. It's like golf. You could be a scratch golfer today, and then tomorrow You just might lose a little bit of this, or the cards might not run right. You might be in a sand trap every time. So listen, you get a guy like Jamie Gold who won. If you, I don't know if you film, he won the World Series of Poker. I'm going to say, I'm taking a guess, 12, 13 years ago, whatever it was. He wasn't a very good poker player. Jamie, I'm sorry if you're watching. However, everything, the stars aligned. The guy couldn't do wrong, and every hand he played, he won. He wound up winning $12 million. And then you have people that are extremely good, the best players in the world, the Phil Ivies, the Phil Hellmuths, the people like that.
Negranes.
And you see them on TV a lot. They're in the money a lot. But, you know, there's landmines you got to get through to win a poker tournament. It's not just, there's a lot of skill. It's, 80% math, 80% skill, 20%, you never know. You can have aces and lose.
How much of it is, how much of poker is discipline?
Oh, it's all, I'm talking tournament poker.
Tournament.
I don't play cash games. I haven't played a cash game in years.
Okay.
I'm just a tournament player. I know what I'm investing, and I know what I can benefit. And if I get knocked out, I get knocked out. I move on to the next tournament. It's not like I reach back in my pocket and do that. So,
okay.
Oh, what was the question? I'm sorry, Frankie. It was.
Goodness. Like how much of it?
Discipline.
Discipline.
A lot of discipline, because you have to sit. There's times, certain tournaments, you're going to be sitting in the same chair for 10 or 12 hours. And you can't if you make a mistake at a high level, it's going to cost you a lot of chips. And you start off with so many chips in a tournament, and you got to have all the chips at the end of the tournament. And there's times to take chances, times not to. If you're too tired, God forbid if you're drinking at the table or something like that. I mean, there's some guys that do. I mean, but at the higher levels, you make one mistake, and it can cost you a lot of money and a lot of time and effort.
When you say God forbid someone's drinking at the table, that resonates with me a lot. So recently, I'm 48 years old, and it's only been a few years. I didn't figure this out until my 40s. When you talk about drinking.
Yeah.
I like having a cocktail every now and again. As I get older, as I get older, I was actually having, a couple nights ago, I was having just kitchen time with my wife, meaning which we don't get very much anymore. And we put the kids to bed.
Your date night.
It was our date night. It was an unintentional, spontaneous date night where we're having cocktails, and my wife goes, I've noticed that after you have like 2 or 3, you kind of are starting to change a little bit. You have to be really she wasn't telling me to be careful, but I told her, I said, yeah, there's something that is going on with me that I hit. To be honest with you, it was like towards the end of my 30s, I hit some kind of a wall, went on blood pressure medication. I got changed physiologically,
Gotcha, yeah.
kind of changed mentally, and like the alcohol.
Such is life.
So throwing darts. If I'm throwing darts, somewhere with some friends, I introduce alcohol, can't throw darts. Billiards, pool, same thing. I'm shooting pool, I'm not good, but I can play.
Yeah.
As soon as I start drinking, no. Poker?
Yeah.
This is what I've learned. If I go to my friend's house to play poker, so we play cash games, okay? Sometimes it's a $20 buy-in, and sometimes it's a $100 buy-in, okay? It all depends on how frisky we are, how aggressive we're being. It also depends on sometimes the guys who are there, the guys who really they don't want to spend money. They want to spend 3 hours with their friends. Yeah. And they want to play.
You're there to get rich, you're there to have fun.
The Bears game's
and have
on.
bragging rights.
You're just hanging out, and poker's in the way, but you're glad it's in the way because it's something.
Those are the best games.
Okay, those are the best games. And I will tell you, I get half a beer in me, my poker game goes to crap immediately.
You got too much gamble in you.
I just do stupid things. So with poker, I'm really curious about how you feel about children playing chess, children playing poker, because poker's gambling.
Yeah.
Because you can also gamble with wooden nickels. Yeah. You don't have to lose your ass.
I don't consider poker gambling, but we'll go to that in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I'm also going to ask you what your favorite poker game is. Mine is No Limit Texas Hold'em, but I'm going to ask you what your favorite game is. I have this idea, and I want you to rip it apart if you need to. I've got my kids in combative sports, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, because I want all of them to be able to know how to fight. Yeah. Because I literally think.
And it's discipline again. It's teaching discipline.
I think it helps their math homework.
Of course it does. It's discipline.
Because if I have, like, my son used to cry doing his math homework, and now he's gotten his butt beat physically so many times, and he's got to pull it together and pull the emotions together.
Yeah.
He doesn't cry anymore. And now he gets A's in math, chess. Sitting there, I don't let my kids beat me, really, in anything.
Yeah.
And when they do
No
beat
free
me,
rides.
no free rides. No, I tell my kids, someday you're going to beat me, and I will be so happy on that day. But you're going to beat me fair and square, like in horse playing basketball. I don't let them beat me.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not. When you beat your father,
They're not 4 years old anymore.
no,
Yeah, that's
no,
what I'm saying, yeah.
they're now the 5-year-old. I go real easy on her, but the 10 and 9-year-old,
Yeah.
no,
You push them.
I'm like, we're trying to achieve excellence, and if I'm fake and I cheat and I let you win, then I'm fake and I'm cheating myself and cheating you.
Yeah, I
like,
get
come
it.
on,
I get it.
Let's go. What's your opinion on? Let's just stay in the realm of poker. Let's forego the chess and the rugby, because I mean, let's talk about poker.
Yeah.
You say that you don't think it's gambling. Do you think it's okay to teach a child how to teach? Is it okay to teach a child how to play poker?
I think it's very good. Same way you would teach them to play chess, because poker's a chess game. Again, I'm not talking taking money in your pocket and throwing it on a table and going to a casino, because
We're not enrolling them in DraftKings here.
At a professional level, poker is very little gamble. There's 10% gamble and 90% skill.
Okay.
That's why the same people you see your Daniel Negreanu's at the final table so much, or you see your top poker players, you see them always at the final or going into the money. It's not because they're lucky 999% of the times. It's because there's a science to it. And again, going back to the IRS, it's the only game, poker is the only game that's considered a game of skill. So it's different than gambling wins. So you actually use poker winnings and losses are looked at differently than pulling a machine.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's a different way to do it. You got to talk to your accountant about that.
Well, I need to know. Yeah, I need to know these things.
Yeah.
So,
but I don't believe there's very little gamble now. There's a lot of people that are gamblers that play poker. However, if you're talking about the top echelon, is those folks, they're not gambling. They're not. That's not a gambler. If you're betting, somebody's buy-ins are $1 million to get into the tournament. Somebody's buy-ins are $250,000, $100,000, $10,000, $25,000 a buy-in. Not for me, but the top people you see on TV. And if it was gambling, you wouldn't see just wouldn't see the same people. So it's math, and say we're sitting at a poker table, and there's 10 of us sitting at a poker table. While I'm playing, I know what everyone has in front of them. I know that I'm breaking down each individual player, so I'm playing 9 different poker games at once, and I'm setting each person up, if I can, and they're probably doing the same to me on some certain level, not a novice person, and I'm waiting for a certain opportunity in a certain hand, in a certain position on the table, with a certain amount of chips in front of me, which they don't or might have in front of them, to take advantage of the situation. And that's the science. That's the science of poker. Your position, the amount of chips, you got to be aware of everything. And not only aware at this table, if you're in a tournament and there's 500 tables, there's 5,000 people in a tournament. We're listening what's going on at the other tables, because sooner or later we're going to have those people at our table or vice versa. And you really want to know, like, say you sit down at a table. This gentleman here is an attorney. This young lady is an accountant. This guy over here is a professional football player, whatever. Well, I know the attorney is going to have a lot of gamble in him, because most attorneys, listen, we love them. It's a love-hate relationship with attorneys. They're great friends of mine, whatever. However, sometimes money is not realistic to them. A $5,000 buy-in is a nothing, So they're going to gamble more, opposed to an accountant, where pennies mean a lot. The dots on your tax forms and stuff got to be exact to the penny, and those people are going to be a little more conservative. So you'll be able to get a conservative person to fold a hand a lot easier against someone who's just there to gamble.
It's interesting. What do you think about this poker phrase? If you can't spot the sucker at the table, you're the sucker. What do you think about that?
I don't know about phrases. It's just, I might be the sucker this hand, but that person might be the sucker next hand.
Okay.
That's where the consistency comes in.
Okay.
If people know you're going to be consistent, Frankie, and they say, every time Frankie's flipped over those cards, he's had the nuts. So that works in your advantage when you want to buy a hand maybe later on or something like that. But if you're always throwing money in like this and you're always raising and you're always playing a little bit outside the box, people are going to tend to say, I don't believe him. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that.
Did you ever see the movie Rounders?
You know what? Everyone always asks me that. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I've never watched it.
What are you talking about, Doctor?
I know. People say, what do you mean you haven't seen Rounders? I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Okay. It's a poker movie, but you can't learn anything about poker by watching Rounders.
Yeah.
But if you're a poker player and you're like and you know, I don't want to say a seasoned poker player, but you can play it.
Yeah, you've been around the block a little.
Then you can see when the camera, whoever the director, I don't know who directed Rounders, but Matt Damon's in there, Edward Norton's in there. Shane probably knows.
Yeah, it's a great movie because everyone always says, and I might have watched it, but I don't remember a bunch of it. I don't get the time to sit a lot of movies anymore.
Anyway, John Malkovich.
Yeah, gotcha.
Isn't it? But there's, talking about a tell where it's like, so for example, in the movie, since you haven't seen it, I'm not giving away anything. Well, I got to be careful. I'll just say one thing.
Yeah.
John Malkovich, the character he plays is Teddy KGB. He's a Russian KGB, ex-KGB agent, high-level poker player. And he runs his own poker room, and he's got the mob kind of like running things for him, and he's just he's wearing tracksuits, and it's a very good portrayal.
I'm going to watch it this week.
Watch it. Teddy KGB, John Malkovich, has a tell where he takes an Oreo cookie and he cracks it, and there's a certain sound that when you twist an Oreo cookie, there's a little sound. And Matt Damon, I'm kind of like, I'm not killing the climax
no, I get
for
it,
you,
yeah.
but it's a tell. It's kind of like when I'm at a poker table with my friends, which I will play poker with people I don't know. I will. It's actually an entree. The chances of meeting.
I'm the opposite. I hate playing people. I don't play in friendly games.
Okay, interesting.
I don't play with friends.
Okay.
I can't play. When I play with friends, I feel like like if I had a couple of patients sitting at the table in a friendly game, I would play differently. I just, I don't want to sound like an idiot. I would feel very bad taking advantage of friends when it comes to cash games and money. Tournaments are different. Tournaments, when we're having a couple of drinks, a friendly game, I will drink in a friendly game, but I do not play with friends.
You know what you could do?
Games.
You know what you could do? You could play with friends, beat the crap out of them, and give them all their money back.
Could do that.
You'd be a legend. Also, if you do that 2 or 3 times, they'll be like, no, we kind of want to win. But like I was going to say, like at the end of, so I do play a lot of friendly games.
Yeah.
I will play on a strange table, and it's always kind of nerve-wracking. And you're meeting everybody around the table. You do a quick shake hands or like a quick nod and say, hey, nice to meet you, cool, whatever. And then you play, right? But with my friends, they have tells. Can I give you one tell?
Yeah.
I've got one particular guy that...
Write something down if I could while you're talking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, go ahead. And you can use this too. This might be easier to write on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Got a friend who, it gets to be a certain time of night, and he's going to get a text from his wife that says, where are you?
Oh, gotcha.
Or are you still there? Or are you serious?
That's a setup call.
Are you serious?
He said, call me around this time because if I'm winning, I'll have an excuse to lose.
Interesting.
I'll have an excuse to leave. If she calls at the same time every week, don't call him out on it. Just say, why does she call it 12:02 every single time? Because then I gotta go. Or he could say, no, I'm going to stay, honey. But it gets you in out.
See, I didn't know. See,
I might be reading into it.
No, speaking of reading, so you're reading into this, right?
Yeah.
I always thought it was like...
A reverse tell. I got to tell you about a reverse tell.
No, here's what I was going to say was I'm like, his wife doesn't respect the time with the boys. We do this once a month, once every 2 months with this particular group of guys. Yeah. And it's like, wait, so we started playing at 7:30, and now it's 9:30.
She only calls once, but right?
I mean, it's like a thing where, this is my point. His stack is like this, and then he plays very aggressively. So like, I want to be in the game.
Yeah.
When he starts to go down in chips, he's going to play real loose.
Yeah.
Because it's getting late, it's time
Make
for
up
him
for
to
lost
go.
time, yeah.
So like now he's going to go all in on every hand. I'm like, okay, if I'm flopping the nuts, that's one thing, I've got him. But if I'm kind of like borderline, I'm like, I wonder if he's bluffing.
Yeah.
I'm going to call.
Yeah.
With whatever he's got, because what are the chances?
You have an understanding that it's more than a tell. You just know that call is coming, and you know all the players at the table. This is their tendencies.
Yeah, if I know he's trying to exit,
Yeah.
he's playing loose. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not trying to win and become the chip leader again.
What does he do for a living?
What does he do for
He's not an accountant.
Oh, so hold on a second. I don't want to call this guy out because I.
Oh yeah, I get you. I get you. Oh yeah, I get it. Oh, yeah,
I really think he's going to watch this.
Yeah.
Because on the Facebook, I don't want to do that to him.
Yeah.
And I really like this guy. I don't want to.
Oh no. Yeah, I get it.
So, I got one guy who plays, and he's the. See, I can't say this. I can't.
No, you go like this. You go like
banker.
this. You want to get under his skin? You just like this, dude. You've got a tell. You're not. I'm not going to tell you, but you got to stop doing it, man. Even though you don't have. Even though he does it. Every week he'll say, "What's my tell? Tell me what it is. What is it?" So anyway.
So he's not the principal of a public school. He's not.
Yeah.
But it's something like that.
Gotcha.
To where if I say, like I don't want QPS to start calling all their principals of the schools. So it's not.
Yeah.
He's not a principal of the school. I'm just saying he's a very higher profile guy that also just likes to have a good time. So I'm already getting people in trouble.
Again, you're only playing $20 or $100. People aren't there to make money. They're there for the bragging rights and say, "Man, I won $200 tonight." Well, it's nice. Yeah.
So what you got here? We got,
I'm going to talk about a reverse tells.
Reverse tells. Let's do it.
So you think you have a tell on me? I'm going to do that tell, and I'm going to do it in reverse of when you don't think I should be doing it. At the higher levels, you'll get a lot of the players. They'll do things they know that people are zoning in on them. Because these days, when you show up to a tournament, say you're in the World Series, I know everyone's name is at the table, even if I never met them before. There's apps. You go to the app, push a button. I know that guy's from Slovenia, this guy's from Canada, it's from the United States. Here's their earnings, here's the tournaments they won, here's what he does for a living. If he's not a professional poker player, I can know everybody. This way you never give your name. You never give your name in the smaller tournaments if you're playing like, say you're playing in St. Louis at one of the, it's not a small tournament, it's called the Good Run, or the MSPT is a great tournament. Actually, we have a guy here in town just took first place, Johnny Kirschman. Donkey, they call him Donkey John.
I don't know.
He won about.
Wait, is it the guy that I met at Maestro's the other day? Or a different guy?
No.
Or
anyway, I think he won $95,000 here a couple of weeks ago. He took first place in one of the tournaments, and that's the low end of their main event. It's usually double that. And then I think this weekend he won $15,000, first place in one of their smaller tournaments. But anyway, in those smaller tournaments, especially if it's a younger guy asking me what my name is, I just say Gary. Because once you tell them your last name, they go right on, and they play you different. Because then they'll say, "Oh, that's Gary Lambert. Here's his earnings.
Oh, crap.
Here's how many tournaments he's played."
Now this is pre-table. This is before you start playing. Correct?
Yeah, you can do it even during the game.
What, you can go on your phone during?
You can sit with most tournaments. You can sit on a computer.
Wait, well, hold on a second. Isn't anybody worried about going to ChatGPT and saying, "Here's the hands we have"?
You can't do. There's rules about texting and doing things while games are going on. However, there's lots of people, like I'll have my headphones in, I'll have my headphones on, and I'll have my iPad on my lap sometimes, and I'll be watching a movie while I'm playing. If I'm going to sit there for 12 hours, I don't recommend it for everybody, but that happens a lot, and there's a lot of, when you're in Vegas, different states are different. Like in Vegas, you can be playing online while you're playing live. So you can literally be playing online in another tournament out there in the clouds somewhere while you're playing live.
Okay,
it's a different level. That's more of, well, whatever.
Is there a difference? Is there a difference? Do people play differently on a computer than they do when they're physically at a table?
100%. I stopped playing on a computer. It's just too much collusion. And although I I'm going to call a B pro for full tilt poker. I was a pro online. I won a couple of seats into the World Series where we started with $1 and I built it up to $10,000 to get a free seat at the main event buy-in, and it qualified me for sponsorships and stuff with full tilt. Anyway, there was so much back then. Let's go back 2010, 2012. A lot of collusion going on. So here's the way collusion can work online. So I stopped playing, especially cash games, never. I can have me and 6 of my friends sitting right here, all of us with computers. We can sign into the same tournament, and very often the same table. If you're playing cash games, you can all sign into the same table. So me and 5 of my friends are all colluding. We're sitting right next to each other playing online, and the other 4 players have no idea. And once you have people that know what they're doing, if you have 2 people that know what they're doing, they can control the whole table, just push people around. If you have 5 or 6 people sitting around and you're making X amount of money every tournament you're playing or every cash game you're playing, I strongly recommend, at least in my world, I don't play online cash. I don't play online at all anymore for years. So there's a fair amount of collusion that goes on. You know, there's always, in every sport, there's a minor dark side, almost in every single sport, and there's obviously a good side, but there's always a minor dark side. Poker is one because there's money involved. You never know, and there's always a crook looking to fill a gap. So when people say, hey, where I play online, I don't play online. I made a lot of money online way back when. I just stopped playing.
Also, the bots, that like the AI.
Yeah, if you got bots.
I've heard that there are bots, like actual real AI bots.
They've been there for years.
How they have?
Yeah, for at least 10 years. So there are people that play, now it's going to be hard to believe, but literally playing in 10, 20, 30 tournaments at the same time online. Sounds crazy.
The bots are doing that?
The bots. So what they do is you program your bot to make a little alarm go off if you got, say, you can set it for whatever you want. Pair of 10s or better, the light goes on, so you actually go on and play that hand. Meanwhile, your bot is making decisions for you. So you're playing dozens of games all at once. And I think that, and don't quote me on this, but I'm going to say the folks that were doing it way back when, they were making between 3 and 8% on their money every day just by having the bots do their thing. And they just played as many games as possible. But then when they got down closer to the money in the bigger tournaments, they might just concentrate on that and have the bot play the other 19 games as the player is actually now he's at the final table, whatever. So I stopped playing this. And a lot of the good, I got to bring clear, a lot of the good, when you're playing online, make sure you play on a reputable one, like Poker Stars or stuff like that, or a WPT, a Club WPT is a little different format.
That's World Poker Tour?
Yeah. Those, they don't allow bots. If they find you with a bot, you're banned forever. But then you just get a different name, and there's other ways to, it's other way to play. So I stopped playing completely, and when I did play, and if I was going to play a game, I would play very small. If it was I would play a very small buy-in with many people. So the chances of somebody colluding are very low. But if you're playing in a cash game where me, you, and 4 of our friends could sign into the same cash table and take advantage of it, stay away from the cash games.
You ever win with a royal flush?
Did I ever win with? I've never lost with a royal flush.
Have you ever had a royal flush? Because every time you get one, you win, right?
Well, I got a royal flush story.
Tell me.
So I'm playing in the Heartland Poker Tournament. It was in St. Louis, and there were maybe 30 people left in the tournament. I don't know whatever the field was, say 400 people, whatever it was. I did final table. I won. I made a couple dollars that one, and it was in diamonds. I still have a picture on my phone somewhere. It was 10, Jack, Queen, King, Ace of diamonds. Not in that order, but it came up, and the final card made the royal flush. So the lady sitting on the side of me had a pair of 10s in her. You know, we're playing Hold'em, Texas. So she had a pair of 10s. She flopped 3 10s.
Yep.
So when it came all the way to the end, there's like 4 of us still on the table, still in the game. When it comes at the end, and you see her, she goes like this. So she checks. I go, I'm all in. So obviously he calls. They all call. So it's a split pot. There's a royal flush on the board. She folds. She wasn't watching. She goes, I don't have a diamond. She wouldn't watch. She didn't even look at the board. So she folded. She had a royal flush and she folded.
Oh, geez.
So she was waiting to fill up on a full house. She had 3 10s. She needed a full house.
She folded a royal flush.
Well, the royal flush was on the board. It was 10. The 5 cards on the board of Texas Hold'em.
Now I got it.
So she checked to me. She only had 3 10s as far as she knew, but she had a royal flush. The board plays, and I said, I'm all in. That's a typical move where you go all in because you'll always have someone not paying attention like her. So we split it 3 ways rather than 4 ways the pot.
Okay.
So that's my royal flush story. So
the next time you come on, we didn't touch on any politics.
We didn't do any politics.
We didn't do any politics.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, there's you have a lot of wisdom. I know. I'm not claiming that I know how you think in every way, because that's not the case at all. But sometime I'd like you to come back and not just hit politics. But there's lots of interesting things.
I'd like to talk about my office more also.
Well, I'd like to talk about. Thanks for talking about Backworks USA.
Yeah.
And thanks for talking about the ability for us to heal from within. Thanks for talking.
You need a facility. You just got to find out what's out of balance. If you can balance it, in my world, I balance the spine, I balance the body as best I can, so you can heal from the inside. Now, it might sound hokey to some folks, but it's pretty basic. I go in, I help you heal, and you do all the healing.
What's the address?
2080 Broadway, 222 back is our phone number.
222 back. You'll come on again?
I will. Frankie, thanks. I appreciate it.
I had a lot of fun with you.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. See ya.
Felt like 15 minutes.
I know.